All right, we have a wonderful scholar, Bhawna Kamil, and we have our one of the most senior, precious person who started a charitable organization, Sister Habiba and her husband Ishrat Hussain, and they're going to talk about the wastage, no, actually the hunger in Bay Area especially. And Bhavana is going to answer any questions that you might have about Islam, especially about Ramadan, or whatever is on your mind. We create this place, a safe space for you, so you can literally ask any question that is on your mind. And also, if you believe in prayers, start praying. All of the 180 people show up because we have a lot of food and a lot of empty chairs. So I think a multi-faith prayer to begin would be very good at this time. All right.
Assalamu alaikum. May peace be upon all of us and all of you. I wasn't expecting to talk, but I would be more than happy to share my own experience. Are you all able to hear?
Yes.
About 25 years ago, days.
Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon all of you. I'm working off, I have this working assumption that since you're all here, you know something about Ramadan. So instead of talking too much, I'd really rather answer your questions. If someone does have a basic question about Ramadan, I can answer it. But from past years, I've seen that people come with questions that they've been dying to ask for years. And finally, they have a chance to ask it. So I'm just going to answer your questions, if anybody has something. It could be about anything. Any question you have about Islam, maybe something you heard on the news that you're not sure about. Is this actually true or not? Yes?
So why is this month the holiest out of all of them?
Why is this month the holiest? Okay, that's a good question. So there are many things. I'm assuming you know the answer, but you asked for everyone else's benefit. Okay. Smart. There are many things that make this month very special. One of the most special things about this month is this was the month in which the Quran was revealed to the Prophet Muhammad. So even before the Prophet Muhammad, before Islam, the Arabs used this calendar, this lunar calendar. And so there are 12 months in this lunar calendar. One of them was called Ramadan. And even before Islam, there were a few months that were more special. Ramadan was one of these months. And so the Prophet Muhammad used to take the opportunity in this month to actually retreat and sort of do this meditation in that month. And so every year in Ramadan, he would retreat to a cave. And this was before prophethood, before he received his first revelations. He would retreat to this cave and spend a month in meditation. And he did this because he felt like the idolatry and the way people were worshiping in Mecca at that time, where they had a lot of idols and a lot of polytheism, he felt like this wasn't the way his forefather Abraham had worshipped, yet he didn't have a lot of information about how Abraham actually worshipped. And so what he would do is retreat into this this meditation and sort of entreat God to show him the proper way to worship him. And so it was during one of these meditative retreats that the angel Gabriel came to him with the first revelations. And the rest is history. And the Quran was revealed over a matter of several years. It didn't come all at once, but the month of Ramadan was the month in which it was first revealed. So this is something that's very special to Muslims. And then in the Quran, it asks Muslims during this month to fast. For Muslims, that means to fast from food, drink. There's a hashtag, not even water. That's usually a typical question. Not even water? Yes, not even water. But also from sexual relationship between a husband and wife, and smoking and other sorts of things. So you can see, because it includes those things, it's really a time for Muslims to practice self-control and self-discipline during this month. And this is, of course, during daylight hours. So before dawn and after sunset, Muslims can eat and drink. So Muslims spend this time when they are fasting to also try to control other sorts of behaviors. So because it's a practice in self-discipline and self-control, they're also trying to control their temper, to control their words. If any of you have ever fasted, there's something called getting hangry. So it's actually particularly hard to control those things and when you're fasting because you're also so hungry. But also take this time to retreat into a more spiritual life, to take yourself away from some of the material concerns that occupy our lives day in and day out, and focus more on the spiritual. You know, fasting is one of those unique acts of worship where no one can actually see that you're fasting. People can see if you're praying. People can see if you're performing a pilgrimage or any of these other things, paying charity. People can witness that. People cannot witness that you're fasting, right? Because maybe I'm not eating right now, but I could sneak into the room, eat a little bit, come back out, and you wouldn't know. So it's really a very personal act of worship between you and your Lord. And so the point of this month is also to increase the intimacy of that relationship between a person and their Lord. And that's what it says in the Quran, that we fast in order to gain this God consciousness. So this is why the month is so special to us. Other questions? I feel bad I have my back to you. No, yes. Who inspires me? Wow, that's a good question.
Why don't you share your story about why you accepted Islam? So maybe
yeah.
it would have that answer.
Perhaps, yeah. That's a tough question. I get my inspiration from a lot of people, but Auntie asked me to maybe share briefly my story of how I became Muslim, and maybe that would answer this question. So I became Muslim almost 18 years ago. When I first entered college, I grew up in a Indian Hindu family, and was always, I think, pretty spiritual and if not very dogmatic or very committed to the rituals of the faith, certainly very spiritual. And when I got to college, I became what a lot of people become in college, spiritual but not religious, right? That I believe in God but not a particular religion. And I got very into meditation, Vipassana meditation, if any of you are familiar with it, very much into meditation, which is a practice in clarifying one's thoughts, cleaning one's mind, being able to really focus in the moment. So while that was happening, I also became friends with the Muslims on campus. And what I saw in the Muslims was a deep mutual respect for each other in an environment where sometimes a lot of the culture of college students can be around drinking and dating and sex and sort of objectification of each other. I saw amongst the Muslim students a real camaraderie, a lot of fun, but also a lot of respect. And so I liked being with the Muslims, and I found that it was a very safe space for me to spend time and have fun, but also feel like there was mutual respect and learning and camaraderie. So I did that, and through being with them, I decided to study this religion. I was already studying a lot of different religions, but when I studied the life of the Prophet Muhammad specifically, I read his story and I said, there's no reason why anyone would do this for any personal gain. I mean, many of you probably aren't so familiar with the entire story. You've probably heard tidbits, but if you read his entire story from before he was born, his family, and then when he was born in his life, I was so struck by the sacrifice, the selflessness, how he was really doing this for no other gain. He was offered a lot of things to forsake his message, to forsake this thing that he was calling people to. We'll give you money, we'll give you women, we'll give you everything. And he said, this is not why I'm doing this. And he suffered so much because of this that I said, there's no reason. And similar to the other prophets I read about, Jesus and Moses, I said, these people did not do this for any ulterior or material or worldly purpose. And so in realizing the sacrifices and the mission of the prophets, I said this, at least to me, it was evidence that these people are receiving revelation they're getting their inspiration and their message from God. And then there were some other things that attracted me to the faith as well. It's a focus on social justice and equality and sort of a pragmatism that appealed to me as a science major at Berkeley. So a combination of those things led me to finally accept the religion right after graduating college. Other questions? Yes. Oh, yeah, you can say Happy Ramadan. Muslims to each other usually say Ramadan Mubarak, which is like congratulations, or have a blessed Ramadan. But I'll say Happy Ramadan to people, and I think that's a great way to greet other Muslims. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. You too. Some tough questions. About Eid? Yeah, so Eid literally means festival, and Muslims celebrate two Eids. One is called Eid al-Fitr, and Eid al-Fitr means to break one's fast. So that's the one that happens right at the end of Ramadan. And it's a very big community celebration. So it's the first day where everybody's eating, right? So there's a lot of food, but everyone's stomachs have shrunk over Ramadan, so they fill up their plates and then they find that they can't really eat that much because they've been fasting for a month. But it's a time to come together and to celebrate. We're a little bit sad that Ramadan has gone. That's always a little confusing to people, that why would you be sad that you can start eating again? But Ramadan really is a special time. But it is a time to celebrate what we've accomplished and what we've been doing, and a time to come together. And so typically the day starts with a prayer in the whatever local mosque. And then afterwards, we go to each other's houses, we visit, we have feasts. Here, we also have carnivals. A lot of the local mosques will have a huge carnival for the kids. And then the other Eid is called Eid al-Adha, and Adha means sacrifice. And so that's the Eid that takes place about 2.5 months later. That's after the pilgrimage period. And the pilgrimage has a lot of tones of the story of Abraham and the sacrifice he was asked to make. And so that's why that festival is called the Feast of Sacrifice. And we do similar things on that day as well. Question?
Yes. I teach middle school students, and I'm wondering, what is it that you would want them to either know about growing up Muslim in America, or maybe better yet, what experience do you wish you would be able to share with them so they would have a deeper understanding?
She can go to the school for you.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You know what? I would actually love if one of the youth could answer that question, because I didn't grow up Muslim, right? And I always tell my daughter I'm so impressed that she's growing up in school and she's fasted this month. This is the first time she's 11. She fasted the whole month. And kids were eating all around her. I'm sure it's a different experience. I became Muslim when it was sort of easier after I'd finished college. Is there a youth who could answer? Yeah. Oh, the question was, she teaches middle school and she wants to know what experience or what would we like her students to know about what it's like to be Muslim, growing up Muslim as a youth here.
Hi, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Noor. I'm a junior, well, no, a senior in high school. And I've been living in America since I was born. I was born in Rhode Island, and my family moved to different states throughout my lifetime. Honestly, I think I've had a different experience than some youth might have, because I've understood the different perspectives of other people. We lived in the South, we lived in the Northeast, and I think for me, growing up as a Muslim girl, and also because I wear hijab, it's been kind of something where I feel a little bit on edge sometimes. Like I might be a little cautious about what I say, because sometimes people, especially in middle school, people can be rude, yeah, and mean and inconsiderate mostly. And I know that's it's sad. That's a very negative, feeling, but it's the truth, you know. My brother has a lot of experiences that have been not so positive in the Palo Alto district with racism and Islamophobia. But other than that, I think honestly just taking a positive approach is really beneficial and important. I, in high school, joined the broadcast community, and I'm an anchor for my school. So being out there and showing people that Muslims are not bad people, as the media otherwise represents, like as Muslims as terrorists or something like that. I've never done anything, or no one in my community that I know of has ever done anything harmful to another person, which is terrorism. And Muslim people do not believe in that. And it's really important to share that with other people through just being there and being, representing yourself and representing your community. So just, me being out there has been really wonderful to other people, because I've just been present, and I think that's really important for any Muslim youth. If you have Muslim middle school students, just urge them to be present and be very strong in their own faith and their own beliefs. Like, don't be ashamed of where you come from. And it's very important that you support them as a teacher too.
I think it helps if the community is supporting them. The more people that are in their lives, including the teachers, the better it is. And what I can suggest to the teachers or anybody who works with youth, for you to make sure that your classrooms are multicultural. That is one of the basic things you can do. I have a friend here who allowed me to go to her college classes and ask them, educate them what it is that Muslim students need. But I didn't talk about just Muslim students. It's diverse students. What are their needs? And their needs are same as white kids. Somehow we don't think that. They need just as much love, they need just as much support, sometimes more so. So just, be kind to them and encourage them to volunteer. Somehow that empowers them, and they do wonderful things. And sure, hold on. I just want to explain American Muslim Voices mission, why we do what we do. Some of you came late, and the reason we do this, so you learn information about Islam firsthand, and you experience contact with a Muslim. So that's the only way you can break all the barriers. And we are not a funded organization. And after just one lady, this young lady answers whatever she wants to, I want you to introduce you to my friend Eileen. She and I have been friends for a very, very long time, working in the multi-faith, building a better community, building a beloved community. American Muslim Voices' goal is from fear to friendship. That's what we need to do. Everybody is afraid of everybody. If you think you are the only one afraid of Muslims, believe me, Muslims are afraid of you. Because we don't know when somebody comes to our mosque, is it an FBI agent or is it a friend? Is it somebody who wants to learn about Islam, or is it somebody who wants to just spy on Islam? So yes, we are afraid too. But that's why we say, let us move from fear to friendship. That's the only way we'll be stronger. So, yes, introduce yourself.
My name's Manal. I just graduated from high school, I think. I just wanted to thank you. I just wanted to say that I was not born here. I was born in Pakistan, and I moved here when I was 6 years old, and I grew up in a very white predominant town, and I remember always just thinking that I'm so different, looking at my skin color and feeling so different. And I remember when I was younger, all I really wanted to be was white, and that sounds really sad, but that was my reality. And now, of course, I'm very, very proud of my religion and of my culture. But I think as a middle school teacher, in middle school is when kids' perspectives are very easily molded, and that's when they are developed. And I think that is when the education about our religion needs to be built into their minds, because when they're older, now people that are that have prejudice towards us, their values cannot be changed anymore, because they are so solidified. So I think at that age, if you expose them to this, I think it's very crucial for them to learn about different cultures and religions. So that's it.
My name is Reverend Eileen Altman. I am one of the pastors at First Congregational Church of Palo Alto. And I have been a friend of Samina's for about 10 years now. And it has been an enormous blessing to me to be her friend and to be a part of the work of American Muslim Voice. So my plea to you is to contribute to the work of American Muslim Voice. This is a gift from them to you. This dinner is a gift from them to you tonight, but you can contribute to support this work of moving us from fear to friendship. Where can people find the envelopes? Jumana has the envelopes and she is going to bring them out, and so I wanted to invite you to find some way to say thank you for this meal tonight and support the ongoing work and ministry and mission of, that's a Christian word, ministry, but it makes sense in this context as well, to support the work of American Muslim Voice. So thank you very much. What's next?